if you don't feel important, then it means what about you?
I haven't done anything significant in my life.
Okay. And if you don't feel significant in your life, then I feel like what?
Then my life is wasted.
Okay. And if my life is wasted, then it proves that I am
Nothing.
Yeah. Hey everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel, Break Free with Ben. I had this idea not too long ago to go and coach random people in the park. It seemed crazy and scary, but it got me excited, so I knew I had to do it. And what you're about to see is my first time doing this. We have never met or talked before this conversation. I want to give a big shout out to Caitlin because it takes so much bravery to be this vulnerable and open with a person that you just met out in a public place. She was on her way to swim with a friend, and it just happened to be divine timing that we ran into each other. I hope this conversation gives you an insight into your own fears, your own worries, and it would be really fun to hear what resonated with you down in the comments. Thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. And oh yeah, there's more videos like this coming, so remember to hit that subscribe button. Okay, you ready for this?
Uh-huh.
Okay, so the question is, what would you do if you didn't have to work for money?
Art all the time.
What do you do currently?
I currently do research for a company where I study human behavior around food.
That's cool.
But I also am working on some art projects, so I am kind of starting.
Cool.
But I just don't work on them as much as I would like to.
Okay, I love this. Thank you for being so vulnerable. So it's like, ultimately, what's preventing you from diving in more?
Time and energy, and the belief that I can take the plunge and still have money to live life.
I love it. Thanks for your honesty about the belief part, because that is everything.
It is.
What do you feel right now?
To be honest,
Yeah.
I feel like I can do it.
I actually, like I've told you, I've been doing this for 5 years. I can tell immediately that you can do it.
Thank you.
Yeah, so you know.
I know.
So what's the block?
I mean, the only answer that's coming to my head right now is like just doing it. But
Is it like a fear of failure, or what is it?
actually, okay, here's what it is. It's not a fear of failure, because I honestly think that I can do it. I think the fear that I have right now, I'm comfortable right now. And I do believe that I can do it. I think sometimes, though, in the path of doing it, so let's say, for instance, I leave my job that's making me most of my money. It's not that I fear that I can't do the thing that I want to do, but it's that, like, maybe I'm going to have to get even more uncomfortable in that pursuit. So one of the thoughts is like, do I have to, like, what if I don't make enough money and then I have to go move in with parents, or I move in with roommates, and I love my home right now. I've like really created a beautiful home. And so it's like digging in and getting more uncomfortable, and that's almost the fear. It's like not the fear that I'm going to fail in the pursuit of doing what I want to do, but it's like I'm going to have to get a lot more uncomfortable, and I'm like, I don't know if I'm actually ready to be that uncomfortable right now.
Damn, I love this so much. Can I ask you more questions? You sure?
Yeah.
I forgot to ask your name. What is your name?
Caitlin.
Caitlin, thank you. I appreciate it. I'm Ben.
Nice to meet you.
Okay. Man, I love this. Thank you so much. You're like, yeah, sure. It's easy for you to say.
all the time, so this is like,
yeah. Okay, so it's not a fear of failure, but it's like, if you were to do the thing, and you're completely right? It's like, so I left my corporate job exactly 5 years ago, and yeah, it was terrifying, right? It was just like, it's just so unknown, and when you do something that you love, it's so much more personal, right? Like, it's not like, oh, I'm selling a vacuum cleaner or pest control. It's like, it's me. So like, even this, right? Like, I couldn't have done this 5 years ago, because it's like, I mean, it's still scary for me. It's vulnerable, right? Like, people walking by, so much rejection. So if it's like, if you do have to move in with parents, or you lose your home, it's like, how do you feel?
It's like, I know I can do it.
Right, but there's something there. So it's like, let's just pretend. We're not saying it's actually going to happen, but you pretend that all that shit does go down.
Yeah.
Of like what's the worst case? You have to move in with parents, and that makes you feel like what?
Makes me feel like it's more of, so currently right now, I did make a pretty big pivot a couple years ago. And so I'm 32. Cool. And I said no to an even higher paying job a couple years ago and left a partner that could have been maybe a forever partner and left this home. And it was kind of like I had the boxes checked.
How long ago was this?
This was a couple years ago now. And
very
2 years ago. And because I was just like, I'm unhappy. But then now I do feel I'm so happy overall. I'm like, feel like I'm on my path. But there's still these like little birdies of like, yeah, there are times where I'm like really lonely, or I'm like, man, like I should have a partner at 32, or I should be on this path, or or maybe something's wrong with me because I'm not on that path. And so I think if I were to move in, let's say move in with like a parent or lose where I'm living now, it's not that I couldn't do it. I know I can, but it's hard when those voices creep in then of like, oh fuck, you're now in your mid 30s and you're living with your parents and
so judgment.
And it's like on the flip side, I know it's crazy because where I'm at right now is like this immense, I'm way happier, I'm way more proud of myself, but those other voices are a little bit louder. So I feel like the same thing will happen. It will be this like even bigger leap of like I'm even more in pursuit of what I want to be doing, so I am like even more proud of myself. But then you get on the other side, you have those really loud voices of like, okay, now you're single and childless, and then and you're living with your parents now. So like,
does it feel almost like rejection, or there'd be like, what are you doing? Like, does it feel shameful, or does it feel like
it feels maybe some shame,
disappointing them? Maybe
no, it's not disappointing them. It's like it's not my parents and it's not me, but it's like I think when there's this is it, is when like that is kind of the quote unquote norm. And even though there's so many people who say like that's not, there are so many other ways of living your life, that is still kind of this like larger narrative that you see in movies and you hear people talk about, and no one questions that, right? Like there aren't really many questions when you get married and have kids and buy a home. Everyone celebrates that easily. There's no like very little people questioning that. When you do something that's a little bit different, you get more people questioning you. And so it's like going against that grain, or people, I mean, I've already gotten comments where people will be like, well, it will happen for you. Like they like pity me sometimes, even when I like talk about the other things I'm doing in my life. And it always comes back to like well, one day you will find the marriage and kids and home. And it's like, what if I don't though? Like, it's funny that it's always, that is the like benchmark. It's like, okay, yeah, you might be doing these other things and like good for you, but like these other things will happen for you eventually. And so yeah, it's this like, it's just always uncomfortable when you're like doing something that's different from the normal and having to explain yourself more. And then sometimes like I know deep inside that I feel like I am on my path, but it doesn't feel good to be questioned a lot, and sometimes then you start questioning yourself and you're like, wait, fuck, am I crazy? Am I delusional right now? Because because I get more questions than I do people who are like celebrating me. Like I get, my friend's about to get married and like everyone's like, yay, marriage, da da da, awesome. But no one's really over here being like, fuck yeah, Caitlin, like you're thinking about scrapping your life. And like I actually went on a walk with that woman and another woman and was telling them about how I want to pursue art, and they were just like they were getting worried for me, and they were like, well, Caitlin, like just make sure you have enough money, and like, okay, yeah, like you can do it. But you could hear like what I wanted them to like celebrate that as much as someone would celebrate a friend telling them I'm having a kid or getting married. To me, it's like that is, I don't know, because that's what feels right for me right now. But instead it's this like worry and questioning, and that then
I appreciate this so much. So it's like, it's that lack of praise makes you feel like what?
Ooh, lack of you asking that question just like clicked on something for me. Lack of praise,
because that's ultimately what you're after, right?
Okay, yeah, I mean, I think that we're all social beings and we all want to be accepted, and it's like a basic human want and need, I think. And so I think everyone wants that like social acceptance.
So what does it feel like, rejection, or what does it feel like cast it out? What is that feeling like if you're not praised?
That I'm not important.
You're amazing. So how did you're onto something. Can you feel it? Right?
Yeah.
So this is actually the fear, right? So it's like your fear. So this is like you have a fear of not being important, and that's that when they question you, you feel it feels like you don't have that status, that significance. So essentially, you're risking your significance, and so you actually have a fear of being successful too, because if it were to happen, then it's like you don't know if that's going to be approved, and so that rejection feels like that non-importance. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah. I've heard
Yeah.
this in another way. So yeah.
Okay.
This is interesting to get to this place.
Yeah, right. I mean, like
Yeah.
this is like ultimately like the root.
Mhm.
Do you want to go one deeper? Or are you
Yeah.
good?
No. Let's go
Okay.
deeper.
So it's like so that if you don't feel important, then it means what about you? Like it proves what? Like if people, it's like I'm not important because I'm what?
I haven't done anything significant in my life.
Okay. And if you don't feel significant in your life, then I feel like what?
Then my life is wasted.
Okay. And if my life is wasted, then it proves that I am
Nothing.
Yeah. I know it's funny, but it's true, right? You can feel that.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is common. I hear this a lot. So you're not alone. And in the way like so it's like this is very common for people like it's like you will do anything to feel like something, right? To feel significant, to feel like you have meaning and purpose. Because essentially and you're inching your way there, right? Like doing these little things and which is all great. Like you are making progress, which is awesome. But that's why you know that you can do it and it scares you because you might feel like nothing to the people who love you, right? Which feels like death.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like you belong. It feels like ultimate rejection. It feels like, of course, that's what you're avoiding.
Yeah. Yeah. So like even if I do it, you're saying. Huh.
So that's why it's partially stuck too. Because like when you said, it's not just a fear of failure, right? It's like I know that I can do it.
Yeah.
Then it's like that's your thing, right? Is if you do it, and it's still not enough, and it's not important to the people around you, and then it's like, whoa, I'm still not good enough for these people, even though I'm doing what I absolutely love and it's making me happy.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
I
then
think
you're
there's
not
like
gonna
a feeling deep down that I already know that too.
Exactly.
Because
So
there's like other things I've shared with them, and I'm like, why isn't this resonating with you? It's resonating with me already, and why am I not getting this response from you on this thing?
Exactly.
So I already know that is happening. Yeah.
And so it's like that's the thing, right? So fear does the exact thing that you don't want to have happen. Does that make sense? So you already feel that, right? You already feel less important, or you already feel like nothing because you're not following your heart.
Yep. Yes.
Yeah. So it's like you already know the answer, right? Is to do the thing because ultimately you can't control people. Like,
yeah.
And like, if you do continue to do that, then you'll always feel like nothing.
Yeah.
I know that's pretty heavy for walking into Barton Springs.
No, I'm all about this.
But I appreciate you.
Yeah.
And so of course, like the next step is to be like, no, of course that isn't true, right? But it's like just getting to the root allows your subconscious to be like, now you know this is why you've been avoiding that really going for it and really listening and honoring your desire.
Damn, yeah.
And so the key is to know that you are absolutely everything, regardless of what you do, even now.
Yeah.
Right? Because
I don't know that.
Exactly, right? So it's like, because you're judging yourself right now, I'm guessing, right? For like not doing everything or the thing of importance. So you still feel less than or feel like nothing.
Yeah. I feel like, yeah, it's funny because I think I am in pursuit of things, and there is this underlying feeling that I will feel better about myself maybe once I get there.
Yep.
And right now I feel like I'm in this phase of like I have to prove myself.
Yep.
And then I keep telling myself, I'm like, no, you are enough right now.
Yeah.
Everyone says that.
Yeah.
But like I don't actually feel that.
Yeah, you have to feel it.
Yeah. I know there's still work there. I'm getting better, I will say.
Absolutely.
I know I feel better than where I have felt in the past, but I still know it's not fully like clicking yet.
The fact that you can have this conversation says a lot. Like seriously, thank you.
Oh,
One last question.
Yeah.
Instead of like, I do this thing and I feel like nothing, right? I feel unimportant. I feel like a worthless piece of crap, basically, is what you're saying. What do you want to believe instead?
That I'm gonna do it. I'm going to do it, and it's going to be joyful, and that it's going to resonate with people, and they're going to celebrate it, and we're all going to celebrate it together.
I like that. Let's
We're all gonna be in
celebrate.
celebration.
So it's like the key is to celebrate yourself right now.
Yeah.
All right, dope.
Yeah.
So when you go in there, celebrate when you jump into the pool, okay?
Okay. Oh, thank
Kaylin,
you.
thank you. That was awesome.
Yeah, that was great.